right? Claude for Sonnet is here, and I want to find out how powerful it is, and I want to show you in this real-time session here how powerful it might be. So I'm working on Postflow right now, and in Postflow we have this feature to create a LinkedIn post. And this feature looks like this. You have this page here, you have the notes on the left where you can enter your notes. You have the editor in the center where you can edit your post basically. And on the right you will see a preview of your post. And I have a similar thing started for creating tweets, but the user interface is there already a little bit, but so far it's not really finished. It doesn't have any logic behind. And so I'm going to Cursor now, and I'm telling Cursor, look at create tweets, create LinkedIn post.js, create LinkedIn post py, the controller, create a LinkedIn post HTML, and I want to, let's add the CSS here as well. I want the same, but for tweets. It might be partially there already. Build that. So that's my prompt. Let's see how it goes. So first of all, as you can see, Claude for Sonnet is selected as the model, and and now first of all it's trying to get an overview of the code base. It's looking at the create Twitter post controller, it's looking at the Twitter post structure, it reads the data model, it looks for anything related to Twitter posts and the whole code base. And then it says, now I have a good understanding of the existing structure. Let me create Twitter post creation functionality based on the LinkedIn post creation pattern. I'll start by creating the controller. And now it starts by creating the controller. Let's have a look here. I think it's still creating, and it doesn't seem like it's using the existing controller that is already here. So we have to create underscore tweets py. Already it's quite blank. It's just creating the root for the current URL and rendering the template, which basically other than that the controller has no logic. But Claude Sonnet is writing the controller now, 302 lines. Okay, first of all it wrote a function to clean the transcripts. Then it creates the Twitter post page on /create Twitter post. It gets all the data here from the database, pushes that into the template, renders the template with all the right data. Then save Twitter post. Okay. I'll just assume that it's correct for now. Create Twitter post root, save notes as Twitter posts. Okay, that makes sense as well. Delete Twitter media makes sense. Now let's create the HTML template for Twitter post creation. Let's see. Create Twitter post, including the Hotjar, the Google Analytics, navbar. That looks quite good so far, I would say. Let me just check if it's actually the same structure. Include navbar, yeah, okay, that's the same structure. That's good, because honestly, when I was working in the past with AI, it often didn't create the proper templates. Each time that I asked Claude 3.5 Sonnet, and in my humble opinion, Claude 3.5 Sonnet is still the best model for coding. And every time I asked it to create a new template for some new feature, it always came up with a new templating logic. And I think the templating logic that it came up with is actually the best practice for templating in Flask and whatever I'm using here. But the problem is that templating logic that it came up with is not what I have in the application. And it never managed to actually look at what I have in the application and use that as a templating logic. So this here is quite good already that it came up with the right templating logic. Alright, then we have some flash alerts here. Those will go out anytime anyway. At some point it has the three columns that we know from the LinkedIn post. So the left column, the middle column, and the right column. And also here it created a new HTML file for the template, create Twitter post, because it tries to follow exactly the logic like we do it for LinkedIn posts. So for LinkedIn posts it's called create a LinkedIn post HTML. For Twitter it does the same, even though there's already create tweets. So it's really trying to emulate it very carefully. That's good, even though preferably it would just have been working in create tweets and understood that it could continue working there. But that's details, that doesn't really matter. And then it embeds the create Twitter post JS, the JavaScript that it's writing right now. I think if people only know React, then obviously my structure here is quite different. In React, everything is a little bit more put together into files, and I don't really understand how in React people keep an overview. If I look at the Lovable code that Lovable is writing in React, I never understand what does what. For me, this is quite straightforward. I have my static CSS, I have my JS, I have my templates, and I have a controller for each template, and that's it basically for me. I need to add the import and register the blueprint for the Twitter post creation controller. Let me update the app.py file. Now I need to add the missing rules to the JavaScript. Let me add them to the controller. Okay. Create Twitter post py. I don't really know what it added here now, because save Twitter, because everything is still green from the previous edit, but yeah, let's just assume it works like that. Then file is being edited by another chat. Yeah, anyway, edit it, data model MD. I'm anyway not using that, it's not up to date. Maybe Claude 4 Sonnet, I have it in my system instructions in Cursor, that after each edit it should look if the data model needs an updating, so that we always have like a proper representation of the database in Cursor, because I'm not using MCP at the moment to talk directly to the database. Okay, and then you can see note by default we stop the agent after 25 tool calls. You can resume the conversation. Okay, let's resume. And I don't even want to know how expensive this is now. I'm using usage-based pricing in Cursor, obviously, because otherwise my tool calls will be expanded way too fast. So let's continue. Hello, continue. Connection problem. So this is something that I had a bunch of times now, yesterday and today. Try again. It's still hanging. Continue. Okay, continue please. Doesn't want to continue now for some reason. Let me check what file upload functions are available in the file controller. Okay, let's just, for now, let's just restart the local server. Refresh here. And then, what's the name of the template? Create Twitter post. Oh yeah, there's missing some CSS obviously. And let's see if it can generate something already. Yeah, it looks similar. I mean, the overall layout is similar, but it's still different. It didn't, for some reason, it didn't copy the styling, let's say, one by one. For some reason, it came up with new ideas again. So LLMs, they are still not very good at just doing what, at just building user interfaces that feel or that look the same as something existing, because they cannot look at it. They just do what they think is right. But here, for example, this is interesting because my structure is that in each CSS file for each template, I'm importing a CSS collector that has some general some general styles, and then each template has its own basically CSS for some things. And here in Create Twitter Post, it actually rewrote everything from scratch. And that's something I never understand. So for example, with a CSS, most LLMs are not really good with it at the moment. It works better when you're using something like Tailwind or ShadCN or whatever. Some CSS frameworks where the AI doesn't have to understand how something exactly looks or feels. It can just take the existing styles and basically do something with them and build user interfaces with the existing styles instead of trying to understand how that actually feels for the user. So that's a little bit shitty, that when you work with your own custom CSS and not using a framework like I'm doing it here, then it's always hard to explain to the AI what you actually want and how you want it to feel like, and so on and so on. So yeah, this is how far Claude for Sonnet comes without any interference. I think it would have come further when we clicked, when it would actually be able to finish. Let's just try, maybe let's just try to switch over to Claude 3.5. No, still connection failed. I don't understand it. I think it's a cursor problem, to be honest, at the moment. I don't know. Okay, let's wrap it up here, but this is how far Claude for Sonnet comes without any interference in cursor. I think it's a very powerful model as far as I can see. I'm excited to see where it takes me. Have a good Friday. Bye bye.